time comes, don't postpone it. When others down and out, you don't condone it. Truth be told, yourself is your toughest opponent. When your moment comes, grab
Should
hold
you
and own
or
it.
should you
Never
not
let go.
build your own website? Actually, the real question is, should you build your own website or should you hire someone to do it for you? If you have zero website development skills, which the majority of people, that's the case, nothing wrong with that. But if that is the case and you need to build your own website, Squarespace is the way to go for you. So they have other options available, but really Squarespace is the go-to. It's my favorite. It's the one I recommend. And it's what's called a SaaS, software as a service. So basically what that means is everything is there. You have your templates included. You have a lot of built-in SEO. You have e-commerce already connected to it. You have great customer service. Almost 24/7 you can get in touch with somebody if you're having an issue because they have like a live chat. They also have, support to where you can write in, hit them up, DM up on Twitter, DM up, D them on Twitter, and all that good stuff. So the design is beautiful. It's really basic. It's pretty much a drag and drop, and it's a good option if you want to build your own website. Let's go through the questions so you can find your answer. And if you're going to hire someone to do your website, most likely they are going to be using WordPress. And that's something you should always ask them when they say, okay, we're going to build your website. Ask them if they're going to use WordPress or what platform they're going to use, if they're going to use any templates, or if they're going to code it from the ground up. Now, beware, right here, big exclamation marks, beware. If someone's like, oh, we're going to code your website from the bottom up. Number one, that's really expensive. It's cool, it's really expensive, but make sure you plan on having them around for like, ever, because if anything ever breaks on the site or goes wrong or it has to be fixed or you want to update certain parts of it or change it, if you don't have that person, whoever you bring in new is going to have to go in and look at the back end, look at the code, see everything they did. It's going to take a lot of time. So do beware of totally customized websites where it's built only from the ground up using no templates. The thing about WordPress is it does take a lot more knowledge, whereas Squarespace is kind of like a one-stop shop, all-in-one, we do everything for you. You just pay a monthly subscription fee. WordPress is different. You're gonna have to kind of get together your own domain, SEO. I use things like Yoast for that, but that's a different video. It's highly customizable. You can definitely scale it. As your company grows, WordPress is definitely the way to go for that. So if you're thinking a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, think scalability, think how you can grow, think how you can build your website and change it and alter it and customize it. Definitely is worth paying somebody else to handle that for you because getting the aesthetics to look just right and all the science and the math, well, it's what I call the science and the math, all the coding and all the back-end engineering that needs to be done, trust me, you do not want to do that yourself. Even if you're really smart and can learn to code really fast, beware. Paying someone to build your website for you on something like WordPress will give you a lot more options and templates. I mean, the number of template options you have is, pretty much unlimited. And it's open source, so it's gonna be a little bit more difficult to fix something if the template, there's an issue with it or there's a bug with it, but the developers will generally let you know like, hey, this is the issue, you need to update it. Now, if you're paying someone to build your website for you, they take care of all that. You don't have to worry about it. On Squarespace, the updates, they take care of it within, Squarespace, you really don't even have to do anything. It's kind of like a set and go, you're done. But if you're using something like a WordPress, there are gonna be times to where you have to update plugins and your template, plugins. Speaking of plugins, let's talk about that. Squarespace, not really using plugins. What you get is what you got, and what they have is what you get. WordPress. Their plugins are awesome. You have an incredible amount to choose from. You can integrate a lot of different widgets into your website. Squarespace has an e-commerce already built into theirs, but with something like WordPress, you're going to have to integrate a plugin. So, for example, I think the one was WordPress, it's WooCommerce. WooCommerce is really great. It's the one that pretty much everybody uses. It's the one we use. And you can use other options for payment on WordPress. But again, if somebody else is building it for you, you really don't have to worry about that. Just make sure that whichever one they're using, you know what it is, and you have all of your passwords and access information and access to all of your analytics and data. be sure that your website builder is setting that up so those can be provided to you. Squarespace has beautiful template options. When you look at it on there, you're gonna go, wow, these look so gorgeous and they're all laid out so nice and they're all spaced perfectly. Okay, they are great templates. However, there is a very limited amount of them. And when you see these templates, you're also looking at people who know a lot about design. They've designed these websites specifically for the content they put there, for the photos they put there. So when you input yours, you are still gonna have to know the right dimensions on the photos that you're gonna use. You're gonna have to know how to work with colors and backgrounds, transparency, all sorts of things, and know how to integrate different files. So even if you're using something like Squarespace, it's still gonna have some technical difficulties unless you know how to compress photos and correctly size those for the dimensions and the space that that template has been built for. Now, that's not to say that you cannot code or customize your site on something like Squarespace. They do have some CSS options. You can use things like markdowns, etc. So you can have a little bit of flexibility with that, but it is very limited. So just keep that in mind. A lot of people ask me, Elizabeth, which one is more expensive and which one is cheaper in the short term compared to long term? There is no one answer I can give you for that. It really depends on 1,000 different things. Even on Squarespace, if you have e-commerce connected, they have different plans. They have basic and I think business and premium. But you are gonna pay a percentage on, I think it's like 3% on anything that's purchased through your site. And also they're gonna charge you a lot more depending on how much web traffic you get or how many options you want integrated in your website. So it can charge you, I think, anywhere from $16 a month to $46 a month. So that's just going to be for your monthly web hosting things that you're dealing with. For a website, if you pay someone to build your website, it depends on what widgets they got, what plugins they got, because some of them are free, some of them cost monthly subscription fees. Also, it depends on whoever is handling your website, how much their monthly maintenance costs are. Trust me, you want someone to maintain your website. There will be things that go wrong. It's better if you don't know how to use a website after they build it on something like WordPress, that you have someone you trust to manage it. And I use that word like very lightly here, but it's not. You have to trust someone so much in order for them to handle your website, because if something breaks and something goes wrong, it could really affect your business in a negative way. So choose a web developer, and whoever is maintaining your website, choose them very wisely. Make sure you really trust them. How long does it take your web page to load? Well, if you're building it on something like Squarespace, it is not going to be as fast as something on, like, say, WordPress. And even though you're like, well, Elizabeth, it's only a few milliseconds difference, I'm like, well, tell it to Google, because Google is gonna put your website on the Google indexing way down here, when the one that's just a few milliseconds faster is way up there. So your competitor, if their website just loads a little bit faster than yours, is gonna get that extra kick up in priority. And if they have a fast loading speed, then they probably had somebody build their website, so they know how to make it load faster. I'm like probably just pitching this to be like, hey, everyone needs to have somebody build their website, because I see so many broken websites and badly functioning websites, and it's generally people who do themselves, and they're like, but I didn't know how to do it. And I'm like, I know. I am not talking down Squarespace. Let me make something very clear. I do love Squarespace, and it has its place in the world. However, it's a tool that needs to be used correctly. A lot of the people using it, y'all don't know how to use it the right way, and you should watch more videos about optimizing and working on the back end of it a little bit. But I do love Squarespace, especially for e-commerce. I mean, it is very seamless and easy, and if you're a smaller company, it's much easier to put in your SKU codes right there. You don't have to, deal with a web developer going back and forth. So it does have its place in the world, and I got mad love for Squarespace. Not talking it down. All I'm saying is, if you're trying to do it yourself, are you sure you should be building your own website? Like, are you sure? To sum it up, if you don't know what HTML means or how to use CSS, then definitely don't try your hand at WordPress. Okay, I'm painting that with a blanket statement. You're just gonna have to watch a lot of tutorial videos and probably gonna have to reach out for a lot of help. If you don't know what HTML is or CSS is, definitely go to Squarespace if you wanna build your own website. Otherwise, Do the easiest thing, do the best thing for your business, and hire a professional to build your website because there is so much more to it that you don't even know. I can't even scratch the surface if I did a 3-hour video on it. So there's professionals out there for a reason. Don't waste your money on a bad website builder. Definitely do your research and find a good one. Like me. If you do choose to hire someone to build your website, beware of the lowest bidder. Beware of the cheapest price. I tell people this all the time. If they're telling you they can build you a website for $500 or $900, you better be asking a lot of questions because I get so many clients who are like, oh, but they said they would build this for me and here's what they built. And there's a lot wrong with it, and we actually have to end up rebuilding it most of the time. So it's time and money and emotions that you lose as a client. So be careful if you're getting a really low ball price. Definitely, call around to a couple places, but make sure you know what you're getting with it because there's a lot of hidden fees in people when they say, okay, we'll do this website for you for $1,500. But you don't realize they're not including a lot of stuff that you would assume comes with it already. And that's a different video. I should probably go over website contracts with y'all. Yeah, think so? I don't know. Comment below, DM me, message me, email me, send me smoke signals. I don't know how to read smoke signals, but if somebody wants to tell me how, that'd be great. Hit me up with any episode you want to see. Do you have a question about posts on Instagram, about ads on Facebook, about retweeting tweets on Twitter? The twit. I don't know. Hit me up. I'm happy to do episodes on them. Love you guys. Subscribe.
Of intuition upon the stars in the night that glisten. To you they listen, to me you extend it a wishing. When your time comes, don't postpone it. When others doubt and out, you don't condone it. Truth be told.